same thing that I was doing, right? I've had people go, what's up with the music? Why do you spend all this time? You put it up and then you don't start immediately. Well, it's for a reason. I don't do that so that it kind of gives you a heads up and that, you got a couple of minutes, whatever I need to do, I'm going to take care of. Then I'll sit down and we'll have our conversation, our time together here on the Morning Update. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Gresham. This is the At-Home Update, which just what it says. I'm at home. I'm in my studio at home, which is also my art studio at home. You just can't see it over in the corner over there, a bunch of easels and canvas and paint. But we just kind of leave that off to one side and we come over here and we spend a few minutes together talking about things that are happening in our lives, all right? And I like to start off with, on Fridays especially, that we don't jump straight into hard, heavy news. It's kind of that don't bring me no bad news kind of thing. I don't want to jump right off into it. So with that being said, here's where I'm starting this morning. All right, here's where I'm starting. I'm going to start with this question for you. What is something that you hate spending money on? Here's the website. Mystery Money Man, the anonymous financial freedom fighter. It's from a few years back, but I was looking for this because I was wondering, what are things that people hate spending money on? This guy says clothing. He hates spending money on clothes, car repairs. Well, who doesn't hate doing that? But it's just a necessary part of life. Isn't there a difference between what you really don't want to spend on and what you have to spend on? Gasoline. That's another one of those. Back to school shopping. He doesn't like that one. So I'm wondering this morning, if I put the question to you, and look, I can put the question to you. What's the one thing that you absolutely loathe spending money on? Some people will say food. It's obvious. You look at me and I'm not going to say food, right? I like eating. I like good food. I have never had a problem spending money on food. Good food? All right, I'll pony up. Good beverage? Okay, I'll pony up. Well, okay, now some are coming in this morning, and we're going to look at some of these. I'm going to tell you what mine is, and we'll look at yours. One of my number one things I hate spending money on. I always think of money I don't like to spend is petty things. But maybe that's not always true. I don't like spending money on hotel rooms. And it's especially hard for me when they start to be, $100 or more, $200, $300, $400. I'm like, I'm not even going to be, if I'm going someplace, there's a real good chance, and you're probably the same way, I'm not even going to be there. I'm going to come in, sleep, get up and go. And you're going to charge me $400 to do that? I have a hard time with that one. The other thing that I have a hard time with, and all the ones you're going to mention too, I'm sure, but the other one is parking. I hate paying for parking. I always consider myself fortunate. My son works in Houston, and he works at the medical center. He works for, I can go ahead and say it, he works for MD Anderson. And he has to pay, to have a parking spot in the garage. And I'm always like, yikes. I don't want to have to pay for that. I don't want to have to pay for parking. I don't know. Just one of those things I don't want to have to pay for. So let's see what you're saying this morning. Things that you hate to pay for. David Peru says medicine. I don't like to pay for those, but I always consider those to be pretty necessary. So it's like, I'd rather pay for medicine than some other things. Stephanie says gas. Janetta says bills. Oh, we all hate, yeah. My dad would have said, well, if you didn't want to pay for it, don't buy it. David Peru, food. I wish it was that simple. Gus Orta, insurance. Yeah, that's the one, Gus. That's a good one because it's like, okay, I pay into this. And then the one time I really need it, you're going to hold me up for that. You're going to say, oh, I'm going to charge you more next time. Yeah, that's, Carlene says doctors and medical bills. Cassandra agrees with insurance. Jeannie Foster, flood insurance, until that one time, Jeannie, when you really do wish that you had it, because you didn't. Teresa says movies. It's not like, the old day. I get you, what you're saying. Because my contention is these days, Teresa, is that movies can't hold up to new episodic series. If I can watch a series that's 10 hours long, there's no way that an hour and a half movie can be as good. You know what I'm saying? Because you got more time to really flesh out the story, get into all the characters. I get that one. Debit card charges. Yeah, I get you for just a little one. Mary says land tax. You hate paying land taxes. Okay, and taxes in general is probably a good one that I think almost all of us would say we don't want, but we wind up having to pay. All right, all that said and done, again, we've got a lot of ground to cover this morning, a lot of things I want to talk about, one of them being power restoration. We're going to get into the new numbers that are out this morning. We'll also spend some time talking about elections and Election Day. Should Election Day be a national holiday? We'll look at some pros and cons on that. We're also going to spend some more time looking at things that you hate to pay for, and then we'll send you off. It's a Labor Day weekend. It snuck up on me. I think with all the hurricane things that were going on, it was kind of like all of a sudden it was there, for sure. All right, so we got all that coming up this morning, and all you have to do is hang around as the update continues on a Friday. Once again, welcome into the house on this 4th day of September. Good news this morning. There was some good news this morning. If you're getting up in almost any place in Southeast Texas, with the exception of Orange, you've got your power this morning. You want to take a look at the grid? Let's do. This is a great site to go to. It's Entergy Texas, and it's their outage map. And as you can see, there's a whole lot less red. Let me grab this. There we go. We'll move it over and we'll kind of zoom in. But before we do that, let's take a look at the total number of people who are without power this morning across Southeast Texas. 6,692. That's the total number. And you see the bulk is in orange. Chambers County, 872. Jefferson County, 48. That's it. At one time, there were close to 200,000. And now it's down 48. And again, in Orange County, 5,635. So we'll push on in. That is Lake Charles. Obviously, they're saying it's going to be a couple of weeks before they're ready to go. But there's a look. Go on in a little bit further here, Orange. And you have some, Bridge City, you got a pretty good pocket there. Looks like in between Bridge City and Orange, there's some folks out there past West Orange. But the city of Orange, and here's the interesting thing. Watch this. When you click on this, it tells you how many people are without, right? 465 customers affected from just that one problem there. Just that one. And then, you go start clicking the rest of them and you'll see, and they all start to add up. And again, pretty quickly, you're at 5,000. And again, the promise from Entergy, I don't know, that's not fair. Promise is not the correct word. The estimate, the projected time of restoration, that's probably a whole lot more fair, is this morning, they're talking about having everybody back on by this evening in Texas. Now, there's going to be exceptions to that. They're going to say the bulk. That's probably a better way to say it because, there are going to be pockets. There are going to be places. Somebody's got a masthead that's down. But that's on you more than it's on GSU. You know the way that works, right? There's from the pole to the house, and yours from the house in. Actually, it's theirs to the pole, I think. And then it would depend on which end of the wire is down. They call it a masthead. That's what's on your house, right? And then the wire goes up to the pole. Do you think the same thing I do every time this happens? Do you go, wouldn't it be better if we had underground power supply? Wouldn't that kind of solve some of this problem? You would think for the amount of money that energy is spent going back to Ike and Rita and Harvey and you would think they'd spent enough money now that they could have, converted. But that's a huge expense. It's one thing to go underground when you're building something new. It's like retooling a plant. It's like saying, okay, we'll just start over and no. So I can see that. But it would be nice, right? You have to agree with me. It'd be nice if they were underground, and then when the wind blows, it's not knocking tree limbs or power towers down, and it's not a problem. But we will keep an eye on that this morning. That will be one of our top stories today, will be power and how quickly people can get restored as we move through the day. But let's go to KFDM.com. We'll check on some other stories for you this morning, and you can go and see the new updates on the COVID numbers if you want to. That's one of our stories of the day, is that the mayors of both Port Arthur and also Beaumont concerned about people coming back from evacuation and maybe bringing the virus with them when they return. Port Arthur is going to continue to have free testing. It is going on at the Bob Bowers Civic Center. You can go there and get a free COVID test. You can also wait and see what happens in Beaumont. We're supposing that they will probably get some more state testing. So if you want to check on that. Salvation Army is at work in Orange. Just one problem. They suffered some damage too. So they're having to deal with that. But they're saying they've served almost 70,000 meals in Southeast Texas. That's a lot of meals since all this started. So you can go and read that story for yourself. That's the thing about KFDM.com. You can read the stories, or you can hang around, watch the stories if you want to. This story nobody's talked a whole lot about, but I think it's a story worth reading from KJS, which is one of our media partners at KFDM-TV, and a story of Justin Smith, who lives in Beech Grove, and his home was destroyed when wind sent a large oak crashing down through the roof. Justin and others removed the tree and went to work for Jasper Newton Electric Co-op and trying to restore power to other people. He was cutting a tree off a power line when it landed on his feet and sent him to the hospital, as you can imagine. So thoughts going out to him. They've got a benefit coming up, Beech Grove, just off Highway 190. And they are going to be doing a benefit for him. So if you get a chance, wouldn't be a bad idea. Go out there and support them, all the people that have been working here in Southeast Texas. So just a story of interest. There are a lot of them out there. You probably have them. I told the story of a friend of mine, 90-year-old man. His friend is here in Beaumont, but his dad, 90 years old, chose to stay in Lake Charles as the storm came in, and it was not a fun day for them, for the man who stayed or for the family who had to go and rescue him. But there were all kinds of stories like that, a lot of them coming out of Lake Charles. There are also a lot of stories of people who are doing heroic deeds that don't expect anything. And isn't that the way it should be? When you do something, and people will go, it makes you feel good. But should that be the reason that you do it, the motivation, because it makes you feel good? Or should it be because it makes somebody else feel good? Maybe it's a pain for you. Maybe it's suffering for you. Maybe it's not something you really want to do. But if it helps somebody else, I always say question the motivation. I guess I'm just a cynic at heart, because I always think, why? Why did somebody do this? Why is somebody doing this? Why am I doing this? Anyway, it is a Friday, and obviously it's been a long week. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm sure you are too. But before we do that, remember, this is a community that we have created. So you can talk to each other just in the comments if you want to. You can get on and say, okay, hey, how's it going? So-and-so. Joanne Hollyfield asked this morning, any more rolling blackouts? We are done with those. I don't think there's no reason really for those at this point. Kelly Parsons Trevino. Yes, it's like that where I used to live, and we hardly ever had outages in bad weather. I have friends who told me that when storms come to Texas, they go to a specific city because they have underground electrical. and they know they're not going to have to worry about it. I thought that was kind of interesting. Mary Walford says, we got electricity around 4:30 a.m. yesterday. I always turn on the bathroom light. It came on. Almost wanted to go dance in the street, but I had extension cords that I had to fix. I understand that, rolling them up. Mary, this was the first time in all these storms, and I've gone, for some reason, I'm on this one circuit, and it's a heavily wooded area. It always takes longer for us to get on. I get that. 21 days after one of the storms, 17 after one. So I fully expected it was going to be a while before I came back on. But I made the investment this year to have an electrician come and wire a box to my house straight into my fuse box. All I can say is, wow, it's worth the investment. Because now there are no extension cords running from one end of the house to the other. You plug it into that box, it's into the, turn things on. You can turn a light switch and the light comes on. No AC, but you can turn a light switch and the light comes on and the fan comes on. So all those things are kind of cool, and you don't have to, like I say, roll up the extension cords once you get finished. Tom up in Illinois said there's underground electrical lines by me, only by homes, not on major roadways. Yeah, that's probably true. Janetta Williams says, I almost cried riding through the neighborhood in Lake Charles yesterday. It's really bad. You are only confirming for me what so many people have told me. The same thing, Janetta, that every time, and we talked about this yesterday. I don't care how much videos you see. I don't care how many times, you look at pictures. It's not the same. It's just not. When you go and look at it and you see it in person, you always go, wow, it's worse than I thought. Teresa Howell Lacey, good morning to you. Thanks for watching up there in Arkansas. Also this morning, Rebecca says, underground's the way to go, however, terribly expensive. So there you go. If a tree falls and pulls a meter from the house, it's the customer's responsibility. I learned that, Rebecca, the hard way in one of the storms when I was sitting there going, what's going on? How come they're not taking care? And then I realized, oh, it's on me. So then find an electrician after a storm. That is not an easy thing to do. All right, so let's see what else we got going on this morning. A quick reminder, drop us a like, circle with a thumb up, or whatever it is, heart, whatever. Just an acknowledgement that you were here and that you have a feeling one way or the other about what's going on with the at-home update. Again, we've been doing this coming up on 5 months now, and we try to do it daily. But if Dan's going to be off, Dan's going to be on vacation, there's a good chance we won't have an update. I don't know. If I take my computer with me, where am I going, right? Where does anybody go these days? This morning, a poll that we had on the morning show, 75% of the people said they will not be taking summer vacations. Duh. It's like, okay, what's open? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do once I get there? I get it. I really do. And I love to travel. It's always been a big part of our lives. Kay and I love to go places. Just not very practical these days. All right. Real quickly, the reminder, not only do we have KFDM.com that you can go to and catch up on what's happening in the headlines across Southeast Texas. Remember, you can look here for efforts to help people in Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana, Orange, Newton, Jasper County, and on the KFDM Facebook page, where you're at right now, just look. There's the Hurricane Relief Fund at the very top of the page. $10, if that's what you got and you want to give it, that would be great. You want to give $500, $1,000, whatever it is. This is going to go to the Salvation Army. We're doing this in conjunction with Market Basket and also our parent company, which is Sinclair Broadcasting. On Tuesday, the 8th, it's going to be an entire day about giving. We're going to give you every possible easy way to make a monetary donation. If you're one of those folks who're saying, well, I'm going to go buy some diapers, or I'm going to go buy some cleaning supplies and drop it off someplace. That's good. That's generous. You should. But if you're like, I don't know what to buy and I don't know where to take it, this is going to make it easy for you. And you can do it today. You don't have to wait till Tuesday. You can do it today. You just go to KFDM.com/CARES, CARES. or you can do it with Fox 4 Beaumont. Same thing. Once you get to that page, it will prompt you and walk you through the entire thing. All right? That's the way to do it. Rather than just putting stuff in a bag and sending it over and having no idea if that's what they really need. This way, we give it to an agency that we know they're feeding people. They're trying to make sure they have the essentials, and then they can spend it. Money is always good because you can spend it the way you need it in the place that you need it. And I showed you this the other day, but I'm going to end with this today, and that is the idea of Election Day being a national holiday. A lot of discussion going on these days about mail-in ballots, good, bad, indifferent, bogus. Other people saying, hey, 5 states in this country have been doing mail-in voting for decades, and they've never really had a problem. So there's all kinds of opinions. But what if it were a national holiday? And you just said, hey, you want to vote? Go vote. Wrap yourself up in, saran wrap and, mask and whatever that makes you feel comfortable and go vote. Well, this was called procon.org. And everything that I've been able to read, I think they live up to their motto, which is reliable, nonpartisan, empowering. And so go and read this one. It's cool. It gets into Election Day. It's always the Tuesday following the first Monday in November ever since 1845. That's the way it's been. And now, of course, voting went from 21 to 18 and up. Of course, originally it was only landowners. Then it became men. Then it became women. Then it became people of all color. And to encourage people to vote, we've done a lot of things through the years. Early voting is now in place. You don't even have to vote absentee. When I was a kid, you had to make, my dad would say I'm voting absentee because I'm going to be out of town for work. We don't have to do that anymore. You don't need a reason to vote early. You can just go vote. But there's the pro and cons about, would it increase voter turnout or would it decrease? Would people go, oh, I'm not gonna vote because I'm going to the lake. I'm going to the beach. Or would it actually encourage people? And would it be a day of celebration of democracy? Some people say no, that it would probably be less effective. But anyway, they lay out some pros and cons. I just thought it'd be something you might want to go and read, and just something to consider. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk on, a lot of times on the update, we talk about ideas. I want to put things in your head. I want you to walk away going, I don't know what I think about things I hate spending money on. Or, should I be tested for? And what kind of test do I don't want to spoon feed you. I want to prompt you. I want to, what's the old saying? I want to poke you. I want you to be thinking, hey, but what about? And for us, again, I want to be poked. I want to be the one that's prodded as well, to prompt me to go and look and see what I think about certain things. You don't necessarily want to, but you should. All right. So we'll be the guardians at the gate, so to speak, to make sure that we push things your way and that you can take them and use them in your daily lives. All right, so that's pretty much it for us today. I am ready for the weekend. I am really, really rooting for you that you have a long weekend plan, that you have Labor Day. I will not. I will be working on Labor Day. I will labor on the day. It's not a problem. Miss Jillian is on vacation, so I'll be there. Kelsey will be there. Chad will be there. I am taking some days off, but not Labor Day. I will be there and hope that you will be there too. But again, at the same time, I hope you sleep in. I really do. I hope that you can do that. Remind you again, of course, reach out to somebody today. There's always a chance to be in service to somebody else. It is not that hard. There are things that you can do without having to make a large effort or to really exert yourself that can make a difference in somebody else's life. It could be as simple as asking somebody, hey, how are you today? Really? I mean, just some people live in a world that is a vacuum when it comes to social interaction with other people for whatever reason. they're up in age, they live by themselves. And by you being kind enough to just simply ask, how's it going? And mean it, because too many times these days we say that it's just a cursory thing, but to really mean it. I still believe, and I try to do it here, and I hope you do too. In a world in which we cover our faces now with masks, the eyes have it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to look you in the eye, and I'm going to engage, and I'm going to ask you with sincerity, how's it going? I don't expect you to give me your whole life history. Just, I'm all right. How are you? But you do that, and you would be surprised at what a difference you can make by just simply, again, asking a question. Get involved. Be in service. Do something for somebody else this weekend. Hey, do something for yourself too. All right, we'll see you back here again, as I said. Let me just real quickly remind you there are a variety of ways that you can catch up on the show. Of course, here on the KFDM Facebook page, you can follow me on Twitter, Morning TV Dan. And then, of course, you can go to the YouTube page, which is Dan's at Home on YouTube. And you can subscribe, and we post every one of our updates onto the Dan's at Home YouTube page as well. So a variety of places that you can catch up with us. And again, I thank you for your time this week. Go out and make it a terrific weekend, and we will look forward to talking again on Monday.